Alright, welcome. My name is Kome and I'm taking you through the Master JavaScript course, today being our lesson 3, where we are looking at control structures in JavaScript. Control structures help us so much in terms of ensuring that there is a code modularity, resource usage by executing only the necessary chunks of code, and also there is code reliability. So let's start by looking at the decision control structures, which help us in making our decisions. So we'll start by the if, else, and the switch statements in JavaScript. So I will talk about decision making.js. I'll call that file decision making.js. And here I want us to tackle if we have the if else. I will look at the simple if else, the switch. So let's get started with the simple if. So we'll declare, first of all, a variable called, let's say, eng, test this, and we'll put it as 18. So in most systems, let's say we are creating a system to help us determine if someone is an adult, then we can be able to check for the eng. So in this case, we can come and check for eng, and then use the relation operator. If eng happens to be greater than or equals to 18, then we can console.log and print voter. That is a variant voter. Else console.log minor. So in the above code, if the age happens to be greater than 18, then you'll print voter. Otherwise, we'll print minor. So let's save this and test. So I'll say node, and then I will say decision making.js. And you can see it's giving us voter because the age is equals to 18. So what if the age is something like, let's say, 12? Let's run our code. And you can see it's printing minor. So what the if does is that it checks for the condition and outputs inside the bracket, inside this curly brace. If the condition happens to be true, what is inside the curly brace here is executed, the first curly brace. Otherwise, what is inside the second curly brace is executed. So what if we wanted a shorthand for this? Let's comment this out. We can use what we call ternary operator, which is a shorthand form of the if statement. So you can come and check age greater than or equals to 18. Then you can say console.log, and then we say voter. So we will check first of all by asking a question mark, and then if it happens to be false, then we say console.log minor, so like that. So we'll edit it there and check. So this is a ternary operator. We check for the condition first, and then we'll say console.log. If this condition happens to be true, you'll print out voter. Otherwise, you'll print out minor. Our int being 12, we expect it to give us minor. So let's see. You can see we have minor there. So the other thing is that we can also have more logic operators there. So for example, we can say, let's say, let registered voter status be equals to true. So you can come and check also here by putting this inside a bracket and check if someone is a registered voter at the same time. So registered voter status. So if they are registered voter, then we expect, and also they are the age of 18 and above, then we print them as voter. So let's say someone is the age of 18 and they happen to be not a registered voter. Let's see what happens. We're expecting it to print a minor. So maybe you can print, instead of minor, you can say minor or not yet. registered. So it's either they are minor or not yet registered. So when you print, we code that, you can see that it's printing as minor or not yet registered, since this has to be happen to be true. So what? But if this turns to be true, then if that happens to be true, then we can come here and check, and you can see they are registered both. So that is clear with the simple if and the ternary operators. So let's go to something else that I will call we can check for the if else if. So I will create another file here. So I'll say more decision making, more decision making.js. So here I want to test for marks, and I will use if else if in case I happen to have several edges that I need to test for my data. So I will come here and maybe declare a variable called marks, which I will assign maybe to 60. And I want to test for various conditions. So I can come here and test, for example, if marks happens to be greater than or equals to 90, maybe to 80, let's keep it simple, greater than or equals to 80, then I want to print console.log. I will say this person has a distinction. Otherwise, I can come now and test again another else if the marks happens to be greater than or equals to, let's say, 60. So if the marks happen to be in this range, then you print distinction. Otherwise, if they are less than, they are between 60, they are greater than 60 and less than, of course, 80. Here we can see console.log. Then you can say credit. You can also have another else if you can test again if marks happens to be greater than or equals to 40, then you can come here and print console.log. You can say pass, and then finally, if we don't have anything executing there, we can have the final else. It means then that someone has console.log, maybe that person has a fail. If it happens that there's no any other thing they have if their marks is not within the other test conditions up here. So having said that, then let's see. Of course, we're expecting this to be 60, so we're expecting a grade of credit. So let's save. Then come back to Node, more decision making.js, and you can see it is credit. But now we at times you'll have tests for edge cases, because marks can either be between 0 and cannot be less than 0, and it cannot be greater than 100, maybe in a system. So for us to test for the edge cases, then you can have an nested if, where we say max, if max happens to be greater than 0, then you can come and also put another and there, and max happens to be less than or equals to 100. So we have a nested if here, where we have an if statement that, and then this entire block here, we can push it inside, and then we can have our else there. So let me make it a bit clear. So you can see if here, this if, first of all, checks whether max, they must be, for this to be done, then the max must be greater than 0 and max must be less than or equals to 100. So having done that, then we'll have our else. You can say maybe console.log enter marks within range. So let's try to test for an invariant max. Let's try to put max 120. So enter max within range. Again, if you put max -2, again, we're expecting to get the same. But if you put max as, let's say, 45, then you're expecting to get our pass. So that is clear with that. So this can also be done using the switch statement. You can also do this using the switch statement. So for us to do it using the switch statement, then what we will do is that We can delete, we can comment out this, of this. Let's comment. And let me use another case. So instead of max, let me use something else to make code a bit interesting. Let's say I have days of the week. So I'll say let days, day B. I'll put a day of, let's say, Monday. So I want to come and we'll have a switch control structure there to make, again, it's similar to the if. So I will switch the day, and inside this switch I want to test for various cases. So I want to test for the case when it is Monday. If you happen to have a case that we have Monday, then you can console.log and say Monday working day. So every case switch must be followed by a case must be followed by a break. So you have again case Tuesday. So again, you can console.log and say Tuesday a working day as well. So you can come here and break out of this again. The test for Wednesday, case Wednesday. So again, console.log and say Wednesday a working day. And then we break, and then you can also test for Thursday, case Thursday, console.log Thursday a working day. So you can come and break. Then you can have case Friday, the last case Friday. So console.log Friday a working day. So you break out of this again, break, and then we'll come and set the default case. If there happens to be nothing found within those cases, then we'll come just and say console.log weekend not working day. So that is it with our case. So let's try to execute it and see. You can see it's giving us Monday is a working day. What if we put something like Saturday? Let's see. It will go to the default case and say weekend not a working day. So that is it with the switch statement. And then the last control structure that we have is, now we have been covering the decision making. Now we have the repetition. So let me create another file here that I'm calling repetition.js. So inside here I want us to cover the loops or repetition that happens in our code. So I'll get started with the for loop. We usually have the for loop that takes in a variable, or which is also initialized maybe to 0. Let's say we want to print 10 numbers. Then this variable takes also another condition that happens to be, if this condition happens to be false, then the loop will not execute. But as long as it is true, the loop will keep on executing. Let's say all the way to 100, and then we can increment I by 1. Let's do it 10, so that can become, so we want to print from 1 all the way to 10. So we can just come and say console.log I. So we're expecting to get 1 all the way to 10 there. Oops, let me node repetition.js. You can see it's giving us 1 all the way to 10. So this is a simple if statement. It takes an initialization here, and then it takes a condition that will happen to be what is in these blocks will be executed as long as this condition happens to be true. And then every time we loop, we'll increment by 1. So at the end of the day, the value of I here will be 10 and then it will come and test is 10 equals to 10, then it will print. It will increment again to 11. Is 11 less than or equals to 10? It happens to be false. Therefore, what is here is not executed, and the execution, the code stops there. So how do we do the same now here using another control structure other than the loop? So you can also use the while. So of course, we have now first of all to initialize I to 1. We have to use the while. Then we say while. Then you can say I is less than or equals to 10. And then, and then we'll just come here and say console.log I. Then of course, we'll come here and use the shorthand I plus is equals to 1, which means I plus 1. I is equals to I plus 1. So by executing the same again, you see we have 1 all the way to 10. So we also have something else we call the do while loop. So I comment this. Again, using the star asterisk. So I'll come and do while. So the do while loop happens to loop at least once. These two here above are best for already known number of loops, but this one here let us to test at least once. It let us to execute the body of the loop at least once, and then before testing. So we just come and say console.log. Then we'll say I. Of course, here we have let I be equals to 1. So again, we can come here and now increment I plus is equals to 1. Then you can say while I is less than or equals to 10. And then this is a statement which ends with a semicolon. This again will do the same thing. So come here and execute, and you can see you have 1 all the way to 10. So also, lastly, we also have another kind of control structure. Let's say, for example, I want us to come here now and comment out all this. Go back to our for loop there. We see something else. So again, this is let high. So I also come and comment this. All of this. This is all entirely commented. Now let's uncomment our loop. So here, so this while, let's come here very fast and comment like that. So what if we wanted to maybe, let's say, break once we get to another value? So we can come here and say, let's say if we meet I being equals to 5, then you can come and say break, meaning we'll stop at 5. So again, you can use this to control. So you can see once I becomes 5, before you get to 5, then it will break. Also, you have something else called continue, which jumps the value of 5 if you are to. So I'll come here, and you can see 5 has been jumped. So that is the break and the continue that I wanted to show you there. So let's go again to the other loops. So you have the for off. Let's say, for example, you have an array called max, which holds a value of 10, 20, 15, and 30. Let's say this is cat max. So if you wanted to put this max in an iterable, then you can simply use the let I, or let's value of for off, and then we say for off max, and then you can come and say console.log value. Again, this will go over the iterable and output for us the elements. So you can see 10, 20, 15, and 30. We also have another control structure, or another loop variable, which can now help us loop through object. Let's say, for example, you have an object here, const, let's say, user, which has a name, let's say first name, first, or user name. I'll call it Come. And then you can talk about the website of this person, of me, which is maybe Fixer. I hope you have checked it out. Fixer.co.ke. That's where I share the content here. So let's say you want them to output these key value pairs. So then you can come and say for let key in user. So by saying this, then you can come and say console.log. If you output the key, then you get the username and the website as that. So you can see username and website. But now you can come and be creative here and say key, and then we can say, you can concatenate this with a string, and now you can come and say person, and concatenate again here and say person, and then pass in our key as you would expect. This way now it will put the user, the user, and then the person and the key will give us the value itself. Okay, there's a problem, there's a small problem. Person, okay, user, sorry for that, user. So I will come again here, and so you can see username Come, website fixer.co.ke. So that is okay. If this tutorial helped you, please don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel, and don't also forget to follow me on X at Come Kelvin K. I will appreciate so much. Also check my website fixer.co.ke, where I share content regularly, and I hope this will now help strengthen your muscles to become a JavaScript developer and master every of these fundamentals, and which will help you so much in life to get maybe where you want to get in terms of JavaScript. See you in the next one, and thank you so much.